The bright screens of Earth's Deep Space Monitoring Station cast a blue glow across Dr. Thomas Reed's tired face. It was just another quiet night shift until a small red dot appeared at the edge of his display. At first, he thought it was a glitch in the system, but as minutes passed, more dots appeared, forming a pattern that made his heart skip a beat. "Mary, come take a look at this," he called to his assistant, who was organizing data files across the room. The young scientist walked over, her coffee cup still steaming in her hand. As soon as she saw the screen, the cup slipped from her fingers, shattering on the floor. "Those energy readings," she whispered, "they're off the charts." Dr. Reed's fingers flew across the keyboard, bringing up more detailed scans. The objects were moving in perfect formation, far too organized to be natural. His computer began calculating their trajectory, and a chill ran down his spine when he saw the results. "They're heading straight for us," he said, reaching for the red phone that hadn't been used in decades. "Get me Colonel West. Now." Within 30 minutes, the quiet station transformed into a hub of nervous energy. Colonel Anna West strode through the doors, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. Two military analysts followed close behind, carrying advanced scanning equipment. "Show me everything," she ordered, her voice calm but firm. Dr. Reed pulled up the main display, showing a three-dimensional map of their solar system. The cluster of red dots was now clearly visible, moving as one massive fleet. "We first detected them near Neptune's orbit. Their speed is, well, it's unlike anything we've ever seen." Colonel West leaned forward, her eyes narrowing. "How many?" "At least 300 ships, maybe more," Mary answered, adjusting her glasses. "The largest ones are about the size of Manhattan." The colonel straightened up, her expression grim. "Have they responded to any attempts at communication?" Dr. Reed shook his head. "We've tried everything. Radio waves, light signals, even that new quantum messaging system. Nothing." The room fell silent as they watched the fleet's steady advance. One of the military analysts whispered something about calling his family, but Colonel West silenced him with a look. "What about their technology level?" she asked, turning back to Dr. Reed. He pulled up another screen showing complex energy readings. "Their ships are powered by something similar to fusion, but more advanced than what we officially have. Their weapons systems appear to be." He paused, checking the readings again. "They're primarily using plasma-based technology." Colonel West's lip twitched slightly, the closest thing to a smile anyone had seen from her in years. "Plasma-based. You're sure?" "Absolutely," Dr. Reed confirmed. "Why?" "No reason," she replied, but there was something in her voice that made the others exchange glances. She pulled out her secure phone and dialed a number from memory. "This is Colonel West. Authorization code Delta 794. Wake up the council." "Yes, all of them." As she spoke, Dr. Reed noticed something new on his screens. "Colonel," he interrupted, "they're accelerating. At their current speed, they'll reach Mars orbit in less than 72 hours. The colonel nodded, still on the phone. "Understood. Yes, sir. Level 5 protocols are now in effect." She ended the call and turned to address the room. "From this moment forward, everything you've seen is classified. Dr. Reed, I need your team to keep tracking them. Document every signal, every energy spike, every course correction. The smallest detail could matter." As the colonel moved to leave, Dr. Reed called after her. "What's really going on here, Colonel? Those ships, they're clearly hostile, but you don't seem worried." Colonel West paused at the door. "Let's just say humanity has a few surprises of its own, Doctor. Keep watching the skies. Things are about to get very interesting." She left the room, leaving behind a mix of confusion and nervous anticipation. Dr. Reed turned back to his screens, watching the red dots move steadily closer to Earth. Whatever these visitors were, whatever their intentions, they were about to learn that appearances could be deceiving. Humanity wasn't as defenseless as they might think. 3 days after the initial discovery, the alien fleet finally broke their silence. The message came through every communication device on Earth simultaneously, overriding all signals. In the Deep Space Monitoring Station, Dr. Reed watched as his screens filled with an alien face. The creature had gray-blue skin and 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, its words were automatically translated by Earth's computers. "People of Earth," the alien commander's voice boomed through the speakers. "I am High Commander Dax of the Galactic Expansion Fleet. Your world has been chosen for integration into our empire. Surrender now, and we will be merciful." Ambassador James Miller stood before the emergency session of Earth's United Defense Council, his white hair gleaming under the bright lights. The council chamber was packed with representatives from every nation, all watching the giant screen where High Commander Dax's message played on repeat. "They expect an answer within 1 Earth hour," the ambassador said, his voice steady despite the tension. "Our deep space sensors confirm their weapons are powered up and ready." General Banks, an older man with weathered features, leaned forward in his seat. "Have they scanned our defenses yet?" "Yes," Dr. Reed replied from his position at the data terminal. "Their scans show exactly what we want them to see. A few primitive satellites, some basic defense systems, and lots of radio waves." A small smile crossed his face. "Our quantum shielding is working perfectly. They have no idea what we're really capable of." High Commander Dax's massive flagship hung in space just beyond Mars, its dark metal hull reflecting the distant sunlight. On its bridge, the alien leader watched Earth through his view screen. "Such a primitive species," he said to his second-in-command. "Their most advanced weapons are simple chemical rockets. This will be easier than taking candy from a child." He paused. "I learned that phrase from their broadcasting systems. Amusing creatures." The response from Earth came exactly 59 minutes later. Ambassador Miller's face appeared on their screen, looking appropriately nervous and afraid. "High Commander," Miller began, his voice trembling slightly. We request time to consider your generous offer. Our world has many nations, many leaders. We need time to reach a consensus." Dax laughed, the sound echoing through his ship's bridge. "You have 1 more Earth day. After that, we take your world by force. Your pathetic defenses cannot hope to stop us." The transmission ended, and Miller's acted fear melted away. In the council chamber, he turned to the others with a determined expression. They bought it. Hook, line, and sinker, as the old saying goes. Colonel West entered the chamber carrying new reports. "All global defense grids are green. Quantum platforms are in position, but phased out of normal spacetime. The enemy can't detect them." She handed the reports to General Banks. "We're ready." "And our civilian population?" someone asked from the vac. "Going about their daily lives, just as planned," Miller replied. "The more normal we appear, the more our visitors will underestimate us." Dr. Reed's computer beeped with new data. "They're launching scout ships," he announced. "Small vessels, probably looking for weak points in our defenses." He paused, checking another reading. "And they're transmitting signals to several points on Earth. Looks like they're trying to contact potential collaborators." General Banks nodded grimly. "Let them. Every move they make only confirms their arrogance." He turned to the council. "The trap is set. Now we wait." Outside, life continued as normal. Cars drove down streets, children played in parks, and satellites appeared to merely broadcast television shows and weather reports. The alien fleet loomed in space, their weapons primed, totally unaware that they were flying into the most sophisticated ambush in human history. High Commander Dax watched Earth's cities glitter in the darkness, already dreaming of his victory celebration. "Such a shame," he said to no one in particular. "They don't even realize how hopelessly outmatched they are." In the council chamber, Colonel West watched the alien ships through a special quantum feed. "No," she whispered. They don't. Deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a facility that didn't officially exist, Colonel West stood in front of a massive holographic display. The room hummed with energy as hundreds of technicians worked at their stations, monitoring Earth's hidden defenses. "Show me Grid 7, she ordered. The display shifted, revealing a network of invisible quantum platforms orbiting Earth. To any normal sensors, they simply weren't there. Even light passed through them, as if they were ghosts. Dr. Reed walked in, carrying his tablet. Dark circles under his eyes showed he hadn't slept in days. "The aliens are getting bolder," he reported. "They've moved their scout ships closer. One even entered our atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean." "Did they detect anything?" West asked, though she already knew the answer. "Nothing. As far as they can tell, we're still using technology from 50 years ago." He smiled tiredly. "Their scans can't even detect our quantum computer networks. They think we're still using silicon chips." In another part of the facility, Ambassador Miller watched video feeds from cities around the world. People walked their dogs, bought coffee, and went about their lives as if a hostile alien fleet wasn't hanging over their heads. The general public had been told the aliens were peaceful visitors, here to open diplomatic relations. It was better this way. Normal behavior would convince the aliens they had nothing to fear. "Final systems check," a technician called out. "Quantum grid is operating at 100%. All platforms are phase-locked and ready." Colonel West nodded. "Begin charging the defense network. Keep power levels just below detection threshold." Around the Earth, invisible platforms began humming with energy. The quantum grid that humanity had spent decades building was nearly ready. Each platform contained enough computing power to run a small city, all hidden behind technology that the aliens couldn't even imagine existed. Dr. Reed's tablet beeped with new information. "Colonel, look at this," he said, handing it to her. "We've finished analyzing their ship designs. Their biggest weakness is their reliance on plasma-based weapons and shields." "Perfect," West replied. "Our quantum disruptors will tear right through those defenses. They won't even know what hit them." She paused, studying the alien fleet's formation. "They're arranging themselves for a classic pincer attack. They still think they're dealing with a primitive species that will try to fight them with missiles and fighter jets." In orbit, High Commander Dax's flagship moved into position. His crew worked efficiently, preparing for what they thought would be an easy conquest. Their scans showed Earth's pathetic attempts at defense, a few hundred satellites, some primitive radar systems, and a handful of nuclear weapons that wouldn't even dent their shields. "Status report," Dax commanded. "All ships in position. High Commander," his second-in-command reported. "Earth's military forces are scrambling, but their response is disorganized, just as we expected from such an underdeveloped world." Back in the mountain facility, Colonel West received word that the final preparations were complete. Every quantum platform was charged and ready. The trap was almost ready to spring. "Ambassador Miller," she called over the comm system. "Is the council ready?" "Yes." Miller's voice came back. "All members are in agreement. The moment they make their move, we make ours." Dr. Reed looked up from his calculations. "You know," he said quietly, "I almost feel sorry for them. They have no idea they're about to attack the most technologically advanced civilization they've ever encountered." Colonel West's expression remained stern, but there was a glint in her eye. "They had their chance to leave peacefully. Now they'll learn why you should never judge a species by its public appearance." Throughout the facility, technicians made final adjustments to the quantum grid. Weapons that defied the aliens' understanding of physics were powered up. Defense systems that could reshape reality itself stood ready. The aliens thought they were about to crush a helpless world. Instead, they were about to learn humanity's greatest secret. Sometimes the deadliest predators were the ones that looked the most harmless. The time had come. Ambassador Miller stood before the emergency broadcast system, his face calm despite the weight of what he was about to do. One last warning. That's what the council had agreed upon. One final chance for the aliens to walk away. "Begin transmission," he said. His message beamed across space, broadcasting on all frequencies the alien fleet used. "High Commander Dax, this is Earth's final communication. We know your intentions. We see your fleet's attack formation. This is your last opportunity to withdraw from our solar system. There will not be another warning." In his flagship, Dax played the message for his entire command staff. The alien bridge erupted in laughter. "Listen to them," Dax said, his 4 eyes glittering with amusement. "They speak as if they have a choice in the matter." He turned to his weapons officer. "Show them how we respond to threats from primitive species." Deep in the mountain facility, Dr. Reed watched as the alien fleet began to move. "They're powering up their main weapons," he reported. "All ships are advancing to attack positions." Colonel West stood at the command center, her hands clasped behind her back. "Time until they enter the kill zone." 3 minutes, a technician replied. "Their current course takes them right where we want them." Across Earth, life continued as normal. People shopped, worked, and played, completely unaware of what was about to happen. The secret of humanity's true power had been kept for decades, shared only with those who needed to know. High Commander Dax's voice boomed across all channels. "Pathetic humans, you dare to threaten the greatest fleet in the galaxy. We will turn your cities to ash for your insolence." In the council chamber, General Banks shook his head. "They really have no idea, do they?" "That's the point," Ambassador Miller replied. "Our entire defense strategy relies on being underestimated." He checked his watch. 2 minutes until they crossed the line. Dr. Reed's monitors showed the alien fleet spreading out into their final attack formation. Their weapons charged, plasma cannons glowing with deadly energy. In their arrogance, they broadcast their tactical communications openly, not even bothering to encrypt them. "All ships report ready, High Commander," Dax's second-in-command announced. "Earth's primitive satellites are trying to track us, but their targeting systems are laughably inaccurate." Colonel West watched the countdown timer. "Status of the quantum grid. All platforms at full power but still phased out," a technician reported. "The enemy remains unaware of their existence. Grid coverage is at 100%. 1 minute remained." In his flagship, Dax stood from his command chair. "Let this be a lesson to all who would resist us. Begin the attack sequence. Show these primitives the price of defiance." The alien fleet's engines flared bright as they pushed forward. Their weapons systems locked onto Earth's major cities, ready to rain destruction from above. They expected to face missiles, perhaps some crude energy weapons. Their shields were prepared for anything this primitive world could throw at them. 30 seconds, Dr. Reed announced. His voice was steady, but his hands gripped his tablet tightly. Colonel West opened a channel to all Earth's hidden defense stations. "All personnel, prepare for combat operations. Remember your training. Today, we show them what humanity is truly capable of." 15 seconds. The countdown continued. Ambassador Miller sent one last message to the alien fleet. Simple, direct, final. "You were warned." High Commander Dax didn't even bother to respond. His ships crossed the invisible line that humanity had drawn in space, weapons charge, shields at maximum power. Victory was moments away, or so he thought. 5 seconds, Dr. Reed said. 4, 3, 2. Colonel West's finger hovered over the activation control. "Time to wake up, sleepers," she whispered. 1. The alien fleet had no idea they had just made the biggest mistake in their civilization's history. In less than 3 seconds, they would learn why humanity had worked so hard to keep its true power hidden. The time for warnings was over. High Commander Dax smiled as he gave the order. "Fire all weapons. Show these primitives the power of a real civilization." The alien fleet's plasma cannons glowed bright, ready to unleash destruction. But before they could fire, something impossible happened. Time. 0.1 seconds after crossing the line. Space itself seemed to ripple. Where there had been nothing, hundreds of platforms suddenly appeared, surrounding the alien fleet. They had always been there, hidden in a different phase of reality, waiting for this moment. "What are those?" Dax demanded, his four eyes widening in shock. "Why didn't our sensors detect them?" Time: 0.2 seconds. Dr. Reed's fingers flew across his console. Quantum grid fully materialized, all platforms reporting ready. Colonel West's voice was cold as steel. "Execute defense pattern Alpha. Show them what they've walked into." Time: 0.3 seconds. The quantum platforms activated. There was no beam of light, no visible weapon fire. Instead, reality itself seemed to twist around the alien ships. Their mighty plasma shields, which could withstand the heat of a sun, meant nothing against weapons that ignored the normal rules of physics. "High Commander," an alien officer screamed. "Our shields, they're not just failing. They're being erased." Dax stared in horror as his sensors showed the impossible. The humans weren't attacking their shields. They were changing the laws of physics in localized areas, making it impossible for plasma containment to exist. Time: 0.4 seconds. "By the stars," Dr. Reed whispered, watching the data flow across his screen. "Their entire fleet, all their technology is based on plasma containment. Without it," he didn't need to finish. Everyone in the command center could see what was happening. Time: 0.5 seconds. The alien fleet's weapons died first. Their plasma cannons collapsed, energy dissipating harmlessly into space. Next went their engines, their artificial gravity, their life support systems, everything that depended on their mastery of plasma physics. Impossible. Dax slammed his fist on his command console. "They're primitives. We saw their technology, their cities, their simple weapons." Time: 0.6 seconds. "That's what we wanted you to see." Colonel West's voice came through every speaker on every alien ship. "You never thought to look deeper. You never questioned why a species would deliberately appear weak." Time: 0.7 seconds. In the mountain facility, Ambassador Miller watched the screens with grim satisfaction. All those years of hiding our advances, letting everyone think we were just taking our first steps into space. And they fell for it completely. Time: 0.8 seconds. The alien ships began to drift, their crews floating in zero gravity as system after system failed. They weren't being destroyed. They were being systematically disabled by technology they couldn't even understand. "Please." Dax's voice had lost all its arrogance. "We surrender. We didn't know." Time: 0.9 seconds. "No," Colonel West replied. "You didn't know. That was the point. And now you're learning why we warned you to turn back." Time: 1.0 seconds. Dr. Reed checked his readings. All enemy ships neutralized. No casualties on either side. Their technology has been completely disabled, but their hulls are intact. They're just floating. The quantum platforms hung in space, their power barely tapped. They could have destroyed the alien fleet in an instant, but that wasn't humanity's way. This wasn't about destruction. It was about sending a message. Colonel West opened a channel to the drifting fleet. "This is Earth Command to all alien vessels. Rescue ships are on the way. While you wait, consider this. You saw exactly what we wanted you to see. Remember that the next time you think about judging a species by its appearance." In the command center, someone started to laugh. The tension of years of preparation, of hiding, of waiting, finally broke. Humanity had revealed its hand at last, and the galaxy would never be the same. Time elapsed from first alien attack to total victory. 1.0 seconds. The silence in space lasted exactly 3 seconds after humanity's display of power. Then every communication channel in the solar system exploded with signals. "Multiple transmissions detected," Dr. Reed announced, his screens lighting up with incoming messages. "Not just from the disabled fleet. We're picking up signals from at least 20 different alien civilizations. They were all watching. Colonel West smiled for the first time in days. Of course they were watching. They all wanted to see the primitive humans get conquered. She turned to Ambassador Miller. Time to show them who we really are. In space, Earth's rescue ships appeared seemingly out of nowhere, their quantum drives allowing them to materialize beside the drifting alien vessels. Unlike the warships, these ships made no attempt to hide their advanced technology. They glowed with powerful energy fields, their hulls gleaming with metals unknown to the alien sciences. Inside his powerless flagship, High Commander Dax watched in stunned silence as the rescue ships approached. The vessels were beautiful, their design far beyond anything his civilization had achieved. His crew, once proud warriors, now stared through their viewing ports with a mixture of fear and awe. "This is Earth Rescue Fleet," a calm voice announced over their emergency channels. "Remain calm. We will begin evacuation procedures shortly. Your ships are unsalvageable, but you will be safely transported home." In the mountain facility, Dr. Reed studied the incoming data from across the galaxy. "Sir," he called to General Banks, "you might want to see this. The alien civilizations that we're watching, they're all broadcasting apologies. Some are even offering immediate peace treaties." The general laughed. Amazing how quickly bullies become friendly when they realize they're not the strongest kid on the playground. Ambassador Miller stepped up to the main communication array. It was time for humanity's first true message to the galaxy. No more hiding, no more pretending to be less than they were. "Attention all watching civilizations," he began, his voice carried by quantum communicators to every corner of known space. "The show you just witnessed was not meant as a threat. It was a demonstration of why appearances can be deceiving and why peaceful contact is always the better choice." On screens throughout the facility, they could see alien leaders and diplomats listening intently. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted in less than 2 seconds. Colonel West received reports from the rescue operations. All alien crew members are being safely transferred to medical ships. Their vital signs are stable, though many are showing signs of extreme shock. "Understandable," Dr. Reed commented. One minute they thought they were gods among primitives. The next minute, he gestured at the screens showing their disabled fleet. The quantum platforms began to phase out again, disappearing from normal space but remaining ready. Earth had revealed one of its technologies, but not all. There were still secrets to keep. High Commander Dax was the last to be evacuated from his flagship. As Earth's rescue teams helped him into their ship, he finally found his voice. "All this time," he whispered, "you could have destroyed us at any moment. Why let us come so close?" The rescue team leader, a young woman named Lisa, smiled kindly. "Because that's not who we are. We gave you every chance to choose peace. The fact that we could have destroyed you wasn't the point. The point was that we chose not to." In the mountain facility, Ambassador Miller finished Earth's broadcast to the galaxy. "To all watching civilizations, Earth is now declaring itself open for peaceful diplomatic relations. We look forward to sharing knowledge and culture with any species that approaches us with respect and friendship." He paused, then added, "But remember what you saw today. Remember that somewhere out there, there might always be someone more advanced than you hiding in plain sight. Choose peace first. It's less embarrassing that way." The galaxy would never be the same. In just 2 seconds, humanity had gone from being seen as primitive newcomers to being recognized as one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. And they had done it without taking a single life. 1 week after the incident that changed the galaxy, Dr. Reed stood at his familiar station in the Deep Space Monitoring Center. The screens that once showed hostile alien ships now displayed a constant stream of diplomatic vessels arriving from dozens of civilizations. Another delegation requesting permission to land. He called out, checking the readings. "This one's from the Centauri Alliance. Their message says they're bringing scientific advisors." Colonel West, now wearing a diplomatic uniform instead of her military one, nodded. "Add them to the queue. Make sure they understand our new contact protocols. The past 7 days had transformed Earth's solar system. Where once humanity had hidden its achievements, now their true capabilities were on display. Quantum platforms openly patrolled space, their mere presence ensuring peace more effectively than any weapon ever could. In the United Defense Council chamber, Ambassador Miller met with representatives from Earth's major nations. The room's holographic displays showed news feeds from across the planet. Citizens everywhere were still adjusting to the revelation that their world was one of the most advanced civilizations in known space. The transition is going smoothly, Miller reported. The public has taken the news surprisingly well. Most people seem proud that we managed to keep the secret for so long. General Banks chuckled from his seat. Did you see the latest polls? 98% support for our hide in plain sight strategy. Though I suspect having proof that we're the most advanced species in this part of space helps with public confidence. A junior officer rushed into the room, holding a data tablet. Sirs, you need to see this. We just received High Commander Dax's official report to his superiors. Someone leaked it to the galactic networks. They gathered around as the translation appeared on the main screen. Dax's words were humble, very different from his previous arrogance. We were deceived by our own assumptions. The humans didn't trick us. They simply allowed us to trick ourselves. Their cities appeared primitive because they chose to live simply. Their technology appeared basic because they saw no need to flaunt their power. While we conquered worlds to prove our strength, they quietly built technologies we cannot even understand. In the end, they defeated our entire fleet without taking a single life. They could have destroyed us, but instead, they chose to rescue us. I cannot help but wonder, which civilization is truly advanced? The one that chose power through force, or the one that chose power through mercy? Back at the monitoring station, Dr. Reed's screens lit up with new data. Colonel, he called out, the quantum sensors are picking up something interesting. Remember those civilizations that were even more advanced than us? The ones we detected at the edge of known space. Colonel West walked over to his station. The ones that have been watching us for the past century. What about them? They're sending a message. He put it on the main screen. The translation was simple, but carried enormous meaning. Welcome, humanity, to the greater galaxy. We too once learned the wisdom of hiding our true strength. Perhaps it's time we finally met as equals. Ambassador Miller smiled as he read the message. Well, he said, it seems we're not the only ones who believe in hiding in plain sight. In orbit around Earth, the disabled alien fleet was being towed away by quantum ships, headed for recycling. Earth's cities continued their simple, peaceful existence below, but now there was no need to hide the quantum towers that phased in and out of reality, or the advanced vehicles that moved silently through the skies. Humanity had finally revealed its true face to the galaxy. They had shown that real power wasn't about conquest or destruction. It was about having the strength to show mercy, the wisdom to choose peace, and the intelligence to know when to reveal your cards. As Dr. Reed prepared to end his shift, he looked at the message from the advanced civilizations one more time. You know, he said to Colonel West, I think this is just the beginning of a much bigger story. The colonel nodded, watching the diplomatic ships approach Earth. Indeed it is, Doctor. Indeed it is.